What's up, everyone? Welcome back to a very dad vibe themed whiskey preview tasting. We're back. Scott and I are here. As you can tell, things are a little different around these parts, mostly because tonight, if you're watching us live, or today, or tomorrow morning, or whatever time of day it is, if you're watching the replay, we got a very dad-themed thing going on tonight, don't we, Scott?
We do, yes. Inspired, actually, you were like, I'm going to go put on a dad shirt, and I hadn't even thought about it. So I was like, let me go see what I got.
Yes. We are debuting two whiskeys tonight that are hand-selected as U.S. exclusives for society members in the United States in honor of Father's Day 2023. And so, of course, Scott and I, being the two dads of the group, well, not the only two, but the two on YouTube, we decided we'd come to you tonight dressing like our own dads. Turns out it didn't take much effort for us to slip into these costumes.
The only thing I would add, you've got a young'un. Now, my kids, I've got two boys. They're 23 and almost 21. I could be a grandfather, but I'm not.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess I could too, but I'm not. No, but our dads are a different age. My dad's 70 this year. Your dad probably, I don't know. My dad was born in 53. So if anybody out there is born in 53 watching this tonight, this could be you. But for real, I'm pretty excited for what we have going on. It has been one hell of a festival season that we just concluded. A lot of fun. So many great whiskeys. We had a lot of fun here on the channel, hanging out with everybody. All the members kind of chiming in. Last night, we had a great time. And even after the stream, Scott, we kind of went to a little after hours. We kept the festival tasting going. But so what do we do after such an epic month of epic whiskeys? We just bump up the jam a little bit more. We got two tonight. Super excited. And I think isolated, if we weren't just coming out of the festivals, this alone, these two whiskeys, I think could be a highlight of the year. At least have the potential to. Neither of us have tasted them. That's what we'll be doing for the first time tonight. So first of all, I want to turn to the chat. Anybody, what is it, Thursday night right now? If you're watching live, Thursday night, anybody got a whiskey in the glass? What are you drinking? What are you tasting? I think that's probably the elegant official society way of saying it. What are you tasting? No, but truly, what's in the glass tonight? We got, as we said, we got two going on. And Scott, any thoughts kind of coming off of the festival season, the whiskeys after last night? Any final thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you, I think we have a lot of members that really look forward to that time of the year and those releases. And I think the SMWS, the UK branch, they look at those and they say, we really need to pull some really good casks for these, for the festival releases. And I think this year was no exception. They were all phenomenal. All just, outstanding whiskeys. I think they did a great job of picking them and making those, several of them, truly unforgettable whiskeys.
Yeah, for sure. Matt says he's got the most recent rare release from 24 tonight. That was our Distillery 24 Massive Oak Extraction is the name of it. That was definitely a showstopper. He's got that going on tonight. Sean Spieth says, I just finished a beer, thinking about grabbing another, seeing as how it's free. Yeah, that's fair enough. Good point. And George Kaplan rightly calls out Tom R. What's in your rum glass tonight? Always got the rum, Tom R. Whiskey Franco says, starting off with Larceny Barrel Proof, then move into the Luscious Velvet. Again, that was our Distillery 64 rare release. Yeah, that we retasted last night. Yeah. It was a lot of fun going back to that.
Alan McGregor as well. It looks like drinking Luscious Velvet. Yep, that's one of those, just a phenomenal cask. And that's the one. It's 15 years old. It's in the old and dignified profile, and just it blew me away.
Yeah. It was fun. I think our conclusion last night was, after revisiting some of the whiskeys that we tasted here on the channel 2 weeks prior, is that there were some changes. Some of them opened up. There weren't any negative changes, but I think we walked away from last night, at least I should say I did, feeling that, man, I think I allowed some of them to fly under the radar, particularly that Distillery 68 rare release. I think
it came back with a boom. It did. Yep.
Well, anyway, that's enough of the past. May is officially over. Tonight is the official start of June and the month of Father's Day. Why are we doing something for Father's Day other than we're just two rad dads? Reality is Father's Day is like a really big time of year for the whiskey industry. I think a lot of people, a lot of malt whiskey drinkers in particular, developed their interest maybe from their dads. I'm not saying we all did. I didn't. I think I got my own dad into it. But for a lot of people, it's a big occasion, and whiskey is often enjoyed with fathers on Father's Day if they're around, or if not, in memory of them. I know that's big as well. So anyway, nonetheless, we've chosen 2 full USA exclusive single casks, different from the rare release bottlings that we had for the festivals, which are for the most part blended malts. These are all true individual casks. Although when I say individual, it looks like both of these have spent time in 2 different casks, but nonetheless, they're all pretty limited, under 300 bottles each. And I think the big news is that we got a big sherry bomb, presumably, and then we got a big peat explosion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have like the dichotomy, the two poles of Scotch whiskey passion, I think, going on tonight. And this is the first time it's happened because, frankly, these 2 styles of whiskey have been, in recent years, the hardest to get in terms of cask acquisition and whatnot. So super excited for these, and we sent an email out today to members. If you're subscribed, if not, please go ahead and do it. We did share kind of what they are, but we'll go ahead and jump into them tonight. And then, Scott, I think you've actually put a link down below.
Should be.
Well.
Yep.
Right? Be there?
Yep.
Yeah.
In the description to order the bottles. They're available now. They were available this afternoon. And good luck. Yeah. And they're US exclusives too, you probably said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to kind of get into it, we'll show, because you can see below kind of what they are. There's no secrets here. This is not sort of a special unveiling as we usually do. It's already out there. Scott, actually, maybe if you can show your bottles, because I think your camera adjusts better. First one we'll have is Cask 44.160 Me Gusta Mucho. And Scott, what are your thoughts? I consider you the resident expert of the deep, rich, and dried fruits flavor profile. You cannot hide your passion from your facial expressions, and we know from Mucho, who seems to be in the chat again tonight, that it sells every bottle. So, what are your thoughts? Just looking at this one on paper.
The nose is. I haven't tasted this yet either. I did open it. I poured some out earlier today, just to let it get some air. I've got a sample sitting here that's been getting some air for about 30 minutes now. The nose on this is fabulous. I mean, it smells like all the Oloroso notes that you really expect. So I'm anxious to get into it. So, and I did notice as well that actually the color of it and the deep, rich, and dried fruits color matches my kind of burnt orange official genuine leather jacket here. This was actually my dad's. This is late 70s, early 80s style leather blazer, burnt orange leather blazer. Very proud of it.
Yeah, very nice, very stylish, very dad-like.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm going to open this one because for the first time, so I'll have the first pour out of the bottle. Yours has been breathing for a little bit, which is always, I think, recommended. So you'll have a couple, maybe slightly different experiences between the two of us. I'm going to go ahead and switch our background to our first dad tasting scene, which is this. Kind of hard to tell with us, but I think anybody in the chat who knows what a dad is knows what this is.
I do not own a pair of those.
I think neither do I, but I aspire to. I'm going to open this
up. This distillery as well. I'll let you get that opened up there. Oh, that was a great cork pop.
First one of the day.
Distillery 44, one of those we've had some excellent sherry cask whiskeys from. Outstanding. And surprisingly, last year we had that. There was a 17-year-old light and delicate from Distillery 44, which I found just very interesting. It was an awesome, great whiskey, but it was weird to be 17 years old from Distillery 44, known for kind of a meatiness, almost sulfur, character just from using worm tubs and their distillation process. The sherry cast whiskeys we've had though, and there's been some great ones. Happiness is a warm bung comes to mind. Oh yeah, I remember that was an 8-year-old. So
yeah, it's like 60, crazy 68
yeah,
or something like that, right?
Yeah, that was a high one. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and I was into deep, rich, and dried fruit, and that was deep, rich, and dried fruits then, and that was 2 or 3 years before I, got on with the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. But
yeah. I like this comment from Whiskey Franco, who says to Sean Spieth, "My old man came to visit, and I poured him a few SMWS bottles and saw his eyes light up. A few weeks later, he texted and said, 'I'm a SWAT member now.'"
oh,
Autocorrect. Very nice. Yeah, I'm super excited about this. I find that it's been a while since we've seen a cask from Distillery 44, particularly of this age. And I think what's happened is the last time you mentioned one, the Happiness is a Warm Blanket. I'm gonna take these off too. I can't.
I'm just gonna take them off because people like to read my face when I taste these.
That's right. You have that ability.
I want them to be able to see my eyes.
I think that we used to see sort of the 12 to 14-year-olds, and I think maybe it's been a while. We've probably let some of them mature because this is a 19-year-old whiskey,
right?
And I'm just kind of doing the math in my head. Probably the oldest one I've seen from Distillery 44 in some time. And as it says there, this spent time in 2 different casks. First is the ex-bourbon hogshead, then the first fill ex-Oloroso sherry hogshead. But typically when you see a whiskey that's been aged in bourbon cask and then also in sherry, the influence can go either way. The fact that this is in the deep, rich, and dried fruit flavor profile suggests that second cask, that sherry cask, probably really took a hold of the evolution of the spirit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so, even just based on the color. And I'm even looking on our website. We don't have, some people will want to know how long this was in the ex-bourbon or the refill bourbon hogshead and then the Oloroso hogshead. We actually don't have that on the product page, so I don't know for sure.
Interesting. It's usually the case. It's probably a couple years.
Yeah.
But some of them lately have been like 3 years now. I think, I feel like a few years ago, quite a lot of casks were transferred, spirit was transferred to new wood or fresh wood. And then, I don't know, I'm seeing 3-4 year finishes on some.
Tom R says, I love Scott's. Oh, did you have that one up there? I love Scott's heavy pours and how he justifies pouring so much for a tasting. Strictly, it's just for you guys so you can see the color.
Oh yeah. What am I doing? I'm like so.
The
color.
The nose on this one, though, it was so toasted. Just the toasted fruit, dark fruits. Oh, it's so rich and the dark more. I mean, sometimes you get with the Olorosos, you may get toasted oak, cinnamon, nutmeg. Those are there, but really it's kind of the toasted prunes and those toasted dates and raisins that's really jumping out of the glass at me.
Yeah, it's not overly tannic or spicy that you would get from like a lot of Spanish oak sherry cask. It's got all the, I think, the pleasant sherry notes for me. It's approachable. I get a lot of like a tiramisu or sort of like a whipped cream type of thing going on. A little bit of like a coffee or espresso as well.
Sulfur level, there's a little bit of meatiness here. I would nose it for a little bit more. Maybe I might say sulfur, but it's really just savory.
Yeah.
And meaty.
Yeah, I agree. It's meaty. I'm not getting a lot of that struck match in this one. Oh man, beautiful, evocative aroma. For me, what do you think of it overall in its presentation of age? Do you think it's nosing like something of almost 20 years?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think this is pretty much as advertised, and in terms of what I'm smelling is very indicative of a whiskey that's spent almost 2 decades in wood.
Yeah, I mean, my mouth is watering just nosing it. It's making me salivate at the back. Yeah. And I mean, it's for like you said, to have a 19-year-old here, the sherry influence that we're seeing from Distillery 44, it's got to be good. So I think we could probably just wrap this one up right there based on that.
Are we done? Look at I keep looking at our background, the New Balance shoes, and I'm like, when I'm smelling this whiskey, I'm looking at those shoes, and I feel like it's affecting my actual experience here. Just thinking of Those aren't green enough, though. The lawns need to be cut in these shoes. So there needs to be stained with the outsole, or the midsoles need to be stained in green.
I just had a typo pointed out. I need to fix real quick.
Scott, I bet when you say that the bottle has a New Balance, it does. Indeed. All right, 58.3% on this one.
Yeah,
pretty high strength for something that's 19 years old. I would say. I'm gonna get into it.
There's a lot of Mamuka-esque blue cheese smell. So you do get that sometimes. Not necessarily. It's really a charcuterie board. It's all those meats. The salamis and the prosciuttos, the hams, and the cheeses, and the fruits, and the spices, and the toasted oak, and the creme brulee. Gorgeous, just a great nose. Go in on the palate as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh. This is such a different. And now we're back. I feel like this one is so intense. Is this coming off really, really strong to you? Ooh.
I did take just a little bit sip. Just a little bitty sip.
Yeah.
But man, the spiciness. It's still probably lending to that. What makes it feel higher ABV? There is a lot of spiciness here. It's peppery. The cinnamon, the nutmeg is there. All of those deep, rich fruits. Burnt caramel. Dark chocolates.
Yeah. I've doubled down the espresso. The dark chocolate is definitely there. It's very, very meaty. But man, this one is super aggressive. And I think coming off of the festival month that we just had with all the rare release bottlings, all the blended malts, like true single malts, this is a different animal. This is a very individualistic, although it's spent time in two different casks. It's very, very aggressive. This one is simply, you can just tell a product just as much of nature as it is anything, really, really intense. This one, you've allowed yours to breathe for a little bit. It's gotten some airtime.
Yeah.
Mine is the first pour out of a freshly opened bottle. I'm definitely adding some water to this one, but I do anticipate, though, in a week or two, maybe not even that long, this whiskey will really, really open up with some air.
And I'm trying to think blind. This, I would think, exclusive sherry maturation, feels sherry bombish. Not, a lot of times you can kind of tell there's slight sherry influence. There is sherry influence, but it's 12 years in an ex-bourbon hogshead and 2 or 3 in an Oloroso. This one feels like an exclusive maturation in Oloroso. It's rich, it's dark, the depth is there, the finish.
I think it's important to point out that this is initial cast ex-bourbon hogshead, second first fill ex Oloroso hogshead. For the most part, unless it's specified, the final casks that we'll use are sourced from sherry bodegas. For sherry casks, we actually go down to Spain. We source them from sherry bodegas. And about 99% of all sherry is aged in American oak. Like sherry sherry casks that are used to make sherry are American oak. Spanish oak is often too tannic for sherry wine. So if you see Spanish oak sherry casks, most of the time those are actually created for Scotch whiskey maturation. So, I am with you, Scott. Like, I think this whiskey doesn't have what a lot of people would associate with a full term sherry cask maturation, which is like a bit more spicy and more tannic, but because this is a true bodega cask, American oak into American oak, I would definitely, you've told me if this is full term American oak sherry cask, I'd be like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Totally,
I know.
Totally.
Yeah.
Sorry, it took a while to get there. I wanted to just kind of share that for anybody. I didn't know that. As a whiskey enthusiast coming into this, like the society, I've been part of the company for 5 years. I didn't know that until I talked to you and our spirits, our actually head of whiskey creation now, who sources all the wood. So pretty interesting.
Beautiful finish on this one too. Still hanging around. I've got a drop of water in mine. I haven't tasted it yet with it, but I'm still tasting it neat. Mamuka asking, does it say how long? No, that's what I looked up earlier. I was trying to see, and we actually don't have on our product page either how long it was. Ex-bourbon Hogshead, and then the first fill Oloroso.
But it sounds like we're united in the fact that
it was a very active cask.
Yeah, very active cask. Presumably 2 to 3 years, I would say. I mean, that's just because thinking the timeline. But the overall profile is very, very sherry forward. Oh, beautiful nose. With water, definitely improved. Just a symphony of flavors. Or actually, I should say aromas if I'm sitting here nosing it. Oh.
All of the charcuterie board, fudge, chocolate drizzle, toasted. They had a little marshmallow cream on it, and they came out with a little torch in the restaurant and gave it the once over, browning it all up. Dark fruits, spicy, and spices. Ooh.
Oh, I like that it's aggressive, though. I mean, compared to some of those cherry mature whiskeys we had yesterday, we had 3 of them over the festivals. Relative to this one, maybe you would agree or not. Obviously, the 24 was really, really sherry forward, but those were all much more like elegant, luxurious. This is kind of much more meaty, savory. Probably just like ideal for grilling some meats.
It's definitely in between the two. The Highland and the Space Side that we had, the 24 and the 68.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely not quite as dark as the 24, but not too far from it. It's definitely closer to that 24 profile than the 68.
Yeah. Whiskey Franco says you're selling him on the bottle and a 71 Stingray. That's on. Yeah. I think I'm rocking like the Mazda Miata at the golf course. Throw the golf bag into the passenger seat. That's my
I think water actually starting to open this one up. Everything is still there. Finish is actually even better with a couple of drops of water on it. It's hanging around longer, even more oomph to it on the finish. Wow. Just a glorious.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just really into the fact that, man, it's so different from the ones, on paper. We've had so many similar whiskeys, and this is older than any of those festival whiskeys we released, any of the sherry cask ones, or any of them, I think, at 19 years. Yet it's also much more assertive and just powerful, and I like that about this one.
Definitely. Second drop of water on, and the sample that I poured is actually taken quite a hit.
Yeah, I'm into this, man. Wow. It's pretty gripping. Like, it grips the palate a little bit. It there's real personality to it. It's not a smooth sipper. With water, I mean, it opens up. It becomes less aggressive. I think I could just tell this one probably needs some time to breathe. When you've allowed yours to breathe a bit, I can just tell it needs a little bit of probably another 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think this is wow. That's a wow.
Yeah.
Ooh. I think we gotta just stay on here, finish this one, and if we get to the next one, we get to it. If not, not.
Well, I'm excited for the next one because, I'll save it, but I'll explain why when it comes time. But there's no secret what it is. It's in you can check below in the caption here. We have it linked, and you know what we're talking about.
I'm looking forward to it as well. I love Distillery 10.
Yeah.
So, but this is this one is Not going to disappoint anybody, I don't think, at all on that. 19 years old, all that. Just a great, very active sherry hogshead. This was matured in, and just a gorgeous whiskey that matches my jacket.
Yeah, I think that's the vibe. Shall we? I'm gonna finish this one. Shall we move on?
George Kaplan wants to know, or he says, we all want to know, did water hurt it? Absolutely not, George. I do feel like if Jenna was here, she would say it did. She likes all of her whiskeys neat.
Yeah, and I'm usually the opposite. I think for this one, it depends the mood you're in and what your expectations are. Coming off, and not to just be redundant, but coming off the festival tasting that we just concluded with last night, revisiting all those rare releases, I think the neat pour for me was the most experiential. Like, I was really into it. It was intense. It was powerful, and I was like, yeah, I'm glad to be back here in this realm. Adding some water, I think, makes it more approachable. It brings out more of a woody characteristic. Like, you get more of the cask itself, which some people like, some people don't. I think I don't know, but I don't know that it's necessarily a dramatic improvement with the water. But you think it? I mean, you said
I like the first round of water. I really think that. I mean,
yeah.
Just a few drops really, I think, kind of open it up and really let those, peacock wings spread their wings and fly. And there's the peacock reference again. Remember?
Yeah.
No, I did like it with the first drop. 2 drops, But honestly, though, very rarely, if at all, I don't think I ever sit down with a cask strength whiskey and not add water. At least a few drops. Just It seems like 9 out of 10 it helps for me anyway.
I 100% agree. I think you're right. 9 out of 10 times I would say that there's an improvement to be had. But I really think, it just depends. What are you looking? Look, at the end of the day, you have a choice. I'm just glad, you get the choice, because a lot of whiskeys I would taste, I'm like, oh, this is great, but I'd like it a little bit stronger. You would like to be able to taste it, closer to cask strength, if not at cask strength.
Yeah.
I think this is one where, I was in a mood where I think I added a few drops of water and it was good. I think I added too much water. That could be the case too.
I'm adding Luxardo cherries to my tasting notes that I've put out there. It's really kicking in now, and that's with water. But on top of all that, all those fudge brownies and that dessert that we were talking about, add some Luxardo cherries.
Yeah. George Copeland says water didn't hurt this one at all. I'm going to make a t-shirt with Scott's face and that.
Yeah.
Well, you got to put the sunglasses back on for why don't you smile? Let him take a screenshot of you in the perfect mood. The dad vibes are back. Whiskey Franco says, oh wait, here, go ahead. You can screenshot that, and yeah, perfect. Whiskey Franco says the standard 13 from Distillery 44, even at 46% is fun to play with water levels. It has enough spice you can take. I totally agree. Look, you guys all know the drill. We don't reveal the names of our distilleries. It's the worst kept secret in all of whiskey, considering you can Google them all. But out of respect to distillers, I will say I once had the master blender for this distillery, Stephanie McLeod, kind of came to my office and we tasted a bunch of society whiskeys together, and I poured her a 44, which is one of the distilleries. She's in charge for making their single malts, and I didn't tell her what it was. I just poured it, and she knew exactly what it was, and she's like, "This is one of the best representations of, I think, of our whiskey." And it was one that was like a bourbon cask transferred to a first fill PX or Oloroso sherry. Such an incredible person. I cannot speak highly enough about her as a true artist of whiskey. I was like blown away, but she was absolutely just so into this one cask. I forget, it was probably like a 14-year-old from Distillery 44. Anyway, what a great moment. And I kind of feel like every time I see a 44 coming around, which isn't often, I think of that.
I've got to grab a drink of water real quick just to wash my palate after that.
Yeah. Mamuka says, I do not like adding water to peated whiskey. Yeah, I can see why that could be the case. I think for me, it probably depends on what type of peated whiskey it is, what type of cask it is. We have an interesting one coming up in just a moment. We'll see how that changes. But this next one is like 61.1%. So I think some water will be added for sure. You feeling good? We need to bring the dad vibes back.
I'm ready. Should we?
Well,
all right, rubber ducky.
All right, let's go. Let's go where we all belong.
We've got us a good old convoy here.
Yeah, let's go to number 2 of the night. I'm going to take this off. How do we get rid of this comment here? Second one also has not been opened by me. 10.232 is the cast number. Down at the Harbour, the classic British spelling of Harbour. Down at the Harbour. 9-year-old, and also has spent time in 2 different casks. The first was an ex-bourbon hogshead, and then transferred to a second fill toasted hogshead. So most bourbon casks, or bourbon is aged in charred oak, but charred to typically level number 4, which is, I don't know, moderate to severe charring. This is transferred to a toasted hogshead, so less time in the flame, or less time exposed to flame. Usually a bit more assertive, sort of woody type of profile can be expected from a whiskey that spent time in a toasted cask. So let's find out. I was commenting though, Scott, because all the Islay whiskeys that we had for the festivals were in some sort of sherry cask, right? For the most part.
Not the 93s.
The Islay ones.
Islay, yes.
Yeah. The 53s and the 10s.
The 3, yep, and the 10.
Yeah. So this is a 2 bourbon casks, which I'm excited for. 60, as I said, 61.1%. Yeah.
And that nose is rocking.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I'm just smelling the bottle. This is like a proper.
That is, just smoked, roasted peanuts.
Like, hold on. I gotta put some back in the bottle. I want to preserve this already.
On the beach, there's a sea salt, maritime, citrusy, bonfire.
I think, yeah. I have really high expectations for this one now.
Yeah, me too.
I think I was I was commenting earlier about the festival releases. First of all, the combination of peat and sherry. We have a peated whiskey and a sherry matured whiskey. But I'm talking about when a peated whiskey is aged in sherry cask, which I said, for the festival releases, all the Islay ones were in sherry, and that is such a unique style that is so enjoyable, I think, amongst most whiskey lovers around the world. But I felt after last night, I was saying, I was like, I kind of wish we had something that was just a true Islay, a classical representation of Islay. And this one in the glass is hitting all the right notes.
Yeah, I think we're going to get there with this one. The Whiskey Franco says, if we really want to bring back the dad vibes back, Scott would have grabbed lemon lime Gatorade instead of water. All right. I can remember playing baseball when I was like 6, 7, 8 years old. So 76, 77, 78. Gatorade was new back then. And the only thing there was the powdered lemon lime Gatorade. You had to mix it. And there were you didn't have any other choice of flavors. And it was good. We loved it. Yeah.
I used to work in a Quaker, what was called Quaker Tower in Chicago. And Quaker owned Gatorade. So there was like Gatorade everywhere. It was, this is many years ago, but everywhere. This is exciting.
Yes. A lot of peat. Like I said, it's on the beach. There's sea salt, maritime, lemon lime, citrusy. Orange zest. It's got a little orange zest right there.
I need to change this background and take us there. Nope, that's not it. Hold on, sorry. Nope, sorry, wrong one. Where is the Isla one? Okay, forget all these. That was from. Okay, never mind. I can't find a good coastal shot here in our library.
Yeah,
here we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Good enough.
Ooh.
So this is the type of whiskey that you would. I mean, this is kind of a cliche, but I think I was on Isla exactly 1 year ago today, and not at this distillery, but I mean, you've been up to this one. I know you know it well, and but this is the kind of whiskey at this strength and this presentation that you would just pull out of a cask, sample out of a cask in a warehouse, and in all its glory. Everything is, I think, in this one. There's a little bit of like a styrofoam thing going on, but a little bit of vanilla icing, which, as we've learned, I think is a common tasting note in highly phenolic spirits. Vanilla icing, but really get a lot of the sea breeze.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very assertive whiskey. I love it. I just love nosing it. I feel like it tells the story of Isla, just, and yeah.
All right. I got to get in on it. Cheers. Wow. That is just what you would expect. Yeah. Heavily peated, 9-year-old Distillery 10. The peat hit me right up front, but it's so kind of creamy at the same time, but then citrusy, fruity, and salty. All of those notes that were on the nose are on the palate, and it's just rich and full and delicious.
I get smoked mackerel, burnt embers. It's funny. It's I think it's a classical representation of Isla. I think the palate follows the notes. No surprises in that transition, which is just kind of a continuous experience. But I do think it's a very brittle texture, and the flavor itself reminds me of eating smoked barley. If you go to Isla or go to Distillery there, you'll have a chance, you'll see obviously the production process. Feel free to grab a handful of smoked barley and take a bite of it. I feel the texture is such that it resembles kind of actually eating the barley, which is wild and really pleasant if you're a whiskey nerd. But I got to tell you, I took a little sip. Maybe if I took a bigger sip, I would feel differently. But I'm down with this neat 60%.
Oh, this is a good one. I'm going to add water.
I'm going to as well. But I'm saying I could take a little sips of this and be totally down.
Mamuka wants to know if it drinks hot. It drinks hot, but it's good. It's delicious. It's really nice on the palate. I mean, and I took small sips, and I'm like, wow. That's a hitter, but it's the peat, and it's an earthy peat though too. I mean, it's a little bit darker. I'm trying to, because I'm not even thinking like campfire here or anything. I mean, it's just like maybe wet wood burning or that earthy, those wet logs that if you took a log that had been buried, in the earth, and you pulled it up and was able to burn it somehow. Wow.
Interesting. So this was the point I was going to make, just in full transparency, but Whiskey Franco says, I love that. While Distillery 10 does unpeated, typically they just kill it with their peated expression. So I have to say, I respectfully I've always felt the opposite. I felt that I really, really enjoy their unpeated expressions. Actually, I think if it wasn't you, Scott, I think I was talking with Charlie about this. Maybe we were all talking about it. I can't remember. But I was saying, I've always really struggled with the peated variants of the Distillery 10 Spirit. This is for me the most enjoyable one I've ever had, I would say. I'm really, really enjoying this one. And so I feel that I'm probably in the minority. Most people really love the peated whiskey from Distillery 10. Like, that's what you want to go for. Hasn't been my experience, but I'm just suggesting that if you are like me, and it hasn't been for you for one reason or another, I'm just saying this is probably the most enjoyable one. I think it's probably the most balanced too. Maybe that's what it is. I've always found the peat and the spirit. There's always been sort of a disconnect. It's a wild roller coaster of an experience, but I think this one is probably more balanced.
Kim is asking, how does it compare to the Festival 10 release? Same age, but no sherry influence here. That 10.240, no naked flames.
Oh, yeah. Just have a sample here. We're going to just answer that question right now.
I mean, you can. I wasn't going to go into it and taste it, but I was just going to even in the color.
Oh, it's a totally different whiskey. Yeah.
10.240, the Festival bottle, sherried, and then the 10.232, actually an earlier cask for Father's Day right here. Just bourbon hogshead and retoasted hogshead, but wow.
I think the 10.240, which I understand from the festivals, was a big fan favorite. A lot of members really were telling us, just early feedback has been that it's just been exceptional. And I just poured a little sample as well. We had it last night, but in our after hours. I think the 10.240 from the festivals is an incredible whiskey, duality of sherry, casks, maturation, and peat. It's a great whiskey in the glass. I think this one has a story to tell, and I think it transports you. If you've been to Isla, you would taste this and say, "Okay, take me there." If you've been to a working distillery, you kind of tasted the production, tasted new make. I appreciate not everyone's done that, and you can still have a great experience nonetheless. But I feel that this is this new one here that we're tasting tonight is just a better representation of the Isla, experience to be had. Does any of this make sense? I'm getting super philosophical right now, but
I just looked at the price on this one's $130. This is a steal. If I had this blind and someone told me this was a $300 peated whiskey, I'd believe it.
Yeah,
this is so rich. I mean, it's, like you said, I think it's really well balanced, with peat though, but then with some citrus, sweet notes coming in with it, and it's just gorgeous. Great Distillery 10 release.
Yeah.
And it's heavily peated too, and I think that's accurate. It's in our heavily peated profile. I think that's accurate.
Yeah. Oh, really succulent, really intense. Oh, I haven't added a drop of water yet.
I did, and I don't know. Jury's out on this one with water.
Okay.
And there's some people witnessing right now. This one might be better without water. I'll let you know. I just added a second round of water. I'll let you know. But no, neat. It's still delicious, still gorgeous, still a great whiskey.
I think from these two whiskeys alone are so flavorful that my palate is just, I feel like, already shot. You know what I mean? Like, normally it would take 4 whiskeys to get this level of palate saturation. But from the first one, that old cherry bomb to this, like, I feel that adding water, it's not really standing up anymore. It's probably
right. Well, naturally it smooths it out a little bit, and it does kind of round it out. But I really think neat that it was just perfect.
I liked it neat too. And that's like a dangerous level to consume it. You know? It's not advisable. But yeah, I think I would take small sips of that. Like you're having a good day, having a bad day, you're just having a day. I don't recommend drinking if you're having a bad day, but if you're having a day, like, you know, I would just take little sips of that one, I think, for me.
I like it with water, but I actually think I did enjoy it more neat. So yeah. Mark that one down. That'll be a trivia quiz sometime in the future. What bottle did Scott not want to add water to?
Yeah, that will. All right. So these two are both available. As you can check the link below if you want to order a bottle, just released today. And yeah, totally appreciate that. There have been so many whiskeys in the last several weeks alone. It's been really tough to pick. I know everybody's feeling the strain. We've got more coming this month, and we haven't. It's June. We haven't even released the outturn yet, which is kind of funny. But
myself and Jenna next Monday night will have it.
Yeah.
Real quick, I do have that since I poured that 10.240. Let me just take a little sample. I'll tell you what, the Father's Day one here, 10.232 is fantastic.
Are you okay? But what are you saying? Are you saying that you prefer it?
I haven't tasted 240.
I also poured the 10.240.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I mean, I think Kim asked that question. How does it compare? And neither of us held back and just pouring a dram to find out. But yeah, I did a little tasting.
Oh, did you already taste it?
Yeah, I was just commenting. I think this is a different experience. This one is much more raw and just it's like it transports you to Isla. The 10.240 from the festivals is a beautiful creation. You know, it's I don't know, in the glass.
I just tasted it. Yeah, and the thing is that sherry influence just hits you right up front. Yeah. The other one, like you said, is just a perfect example. 9-year-old heavily peated Isla whiskey, no sherry influence.
Yeah,
and it's that's fabulous. It's outstanding. So is 10.240, but yeah, it's two different whiskeys.
Yeah. I really feel that. I mean, I don't want any surprises for everybody. There's this one, this 10. What is it? 10 point down at the Harbour. This Father's Day cask here is it's not full of surprises. There's no tricks up the sleeve. It's just, I think, a great representation of Isla. We've had a lot of cask from Distillery 53 that I think are very classic. I think this one offers, I don't know, I would argue that this is probably more interesting. I don't know. There's more to play with, maybe. I don't know. That's a subjective opinion here. And this is coming from a guy who's previously said that I'm not a huge fan of the peated whiskey from Distillery 10. I prefer the unpeated. And this one's kind of
it knocks it out of the park.
Yeah. So that's that. So thanks all for joining us tonight. And Scott, this has been fun. I have to say the sunglasses might be obnoxious to everybody viewing, but with all these bright lights around here,
it's actually kind of nice.
I prefer this.
Yeah.
I feel like I can focus on the whiskeys and not be blinded by the LEDs that surround me. But no, we'll be back. Scott will be back next week, and then check the channel. You'll see all the listings of all the live streams come in. Scott and you and I think we'll be doing our National Bourbon Day tasting. We're doing a really in-depth compare and contrast of 3 bourbons, all from the same distillery.
Oh, yeah.
They're all available right now for order, so that'll be fun. And just not to get ahead of ourselves, but have you tasted any of those yet?
Oh yeah, I've had them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I should have expected that answer. I haven't yet, but I'll wait till the night. So yeah. So cheers, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Back-to-back evenings, and
get these while you can, because these are ones that people will be telling stories about for a while. You'll hear this 5 years from now. People will be talking about down at the Harbour, and then what's the other one?
Me Gusta Mucho. Yeah, I think this.
Me Gusta Mucho. Yep.
All right. Text me in 5 years. All right. See ya. Cheers.
Cheers.